is a quick demo of the UV lab. For the UV lab, we are testing the impact of prolonged UV exposure on a bacteria called Serratia marcescens. This bacteria is cool because it's got a cream-colored pigmentation when it has no UV exposure, and it turns this nice red color after UV exposure. We are also evaluating the impact of the UV damage on the bacterial cells, so looking at those thymine dimers that have been generated. We won't be doing a genetic analysis, but we'll be looking at the impact of the UV exposure on the growth of the bacteria. So to do this lab, we're going to start with a confluent lawn of bacteria. We've just seen a short demo on how to create that confluent lawn. For this exercise, this would be done as a lab, and every pod would be provided with these different UV exposure cards. So starting from 0 minutes of exposure, moving forward for every minute, and all of these plates would be with the lid off. So UV has an inability to penetrate barriers. At the very end of this time frame, we have this all the way up till 10 minutes, 10 minutes with the lid off and 10 minutes with the lid on. For these plates, for this exercise, it involves UV light, which we have in this box here. Underneath this box, we have a place to put your confluent lawn, your plate of streak bacteria. So again, this would start with creating a confluent lawn of bacteria. The agar dish is labeled, and this is TSA, would be labeled with the lab UV and with the number of minutes of exposure. This one is labeled for 1 minute. For the actual exercise, I would take the lid off. Because I'm using 1 minute with no lid on, I'll take my lid off of my agar dish, set it down, and put a zap card. The zap card has clearing through the ZAP, and that gives us a control region where there will be no UV penetration, and a treatment or exposure region to evaluate the impact of UV exposure. So this I would put directly over my Petri dish and put the lid on, and then evaluate this. And this is my 1 minute of UV exposure. After that 1 minute of UV exposure, I'm done with this exercise. I take the UV box back off, remove the zap card, put the lid on, and turn this upside down, tape this up, and put this under foil to protect against any other type of light exposure. And so we're controlling for anything except for that UV exposure that we've just done.